Hello dear students, this is me Bharti Kharat. Today we are going to study basic concepts of geometry. In that, we are going to study all the basic information to solve practice set 1.3 and also study practice set 1.3. Okay, now let us move on towards our first point, that is conditional statements and converse. Now, a question might have arisen in your mind that what are conditional statements? Okay, so these conditional statements are in the form of conditions. Okay, conditional statements are the statements given in the form of conditions. Now, you can also define them in a mathematical way. Okay, how is it? Let's see. Okay, in mathematical way, you can define these conditional statements as the statements which can be written in if then form are called as conditional statements. Okay, what are conditional statements? Conditional statements are the statements which can be written in the form of if and then. They are called as conditional statements. So I'll write it down here. The statements which can be written in the if then form are called conditional statements. Okay, the statements which can be written in the if then form are called conditional statements. Okay, in simple language you can call it as the statements, or you can say that these statements are in the form of conditions. Okay, these statements are in the form of conditions, and in mathematical way you can say that the statements which can be written in the if then form are called conditional statements. Okay, now children, okay, now you can see here a word antecedent. Now what is antecedent? Now whenever a statement is given to you in if and then form, okay, the statement which is following if, okay, the part of statement which follows if is called as antecedent. Okay, I'll write it down here. The part of statement following if is called antecedent. Okay, is called as antecedent. Whereas the part of a statement following then is called as consequent. Okay, the part of statement following then, okay, following then is called consequent. Okay, it is called as consequent. Okay, I hope so it is clear till here. Now let us consider a statement for this. Okay, now let us consider the statement. The diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Okay, they have given a statement over here, that is the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Now for this, let us consider the diagram of a rhombus. Now suppose this is a rhombus. Okay, I am not using here scale, so please try to understand. Okay, now this is a diagram of rhombus, and you very well know that all the four sides of rhombus are equal, and you can see these diagonals of rhombus. See, these are the diagonals of the rhombus, and these diagonals of rhombus intersect each other at 90 degree. Okay, we can call that this diagonals of rhombus bisect each other perpendicularly. That means this side is equal to this side and this side is equal to this side. Okay, now the statement is that the diagonals of a rhombus are perpendicular bisectors of each other. So what will be the conditional statement for this? So the conditional statement will be if the given quadrilateral, if the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, then its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Okay, now children, you can see if. The statement has started with if. Now whatever the part of the statement is there after if, see I am underlining it. Okay, the part of statement that is following if, that is the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, that is called as, okay, this underlined part is called as antecedent. Okay, antecedent. You can see this underlined part is called as antecedent, whereas the part of the statement which follows then, it is called as consequent. Okay, it is called as consequent. Is it clear to you all? The part of the statement which follows if is called as antecedent, and the part of a statement which follows then is called as consequent. Now let us move on towards the converse of this statement. Now what is converse of conditional statement? Okay, it is very simple. Now children, when you interchange, okay, or if you interchange antecedent and consequent in a given conditional statement, then it is called as the converse of the given statement. Okay, or you can also say that if the antecedent and consequent in a given conditional statement are interchanged, then the resulting statement is called converse of the given statements. Okay, therefore we'll write it down. If the antecedent and consequent in a given statement, in a given conditional statement, are interchanged, then the resulting statement is called converse of the given statement. Okay, now let us see the conditional statement. Now suppose you have studied this conditional statement. If the diagonals, or if the given quadrilateral is a rhombus, then its diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. Okay, now let us write it, its converse. Okay, its converse will be, if the diagonals of a quadrilateral are perpendicular bisectors of each other, then it is a rhombus. It is a rhombus. Okay, so what we have done, we have changed the position of antecedent and consequent in order to get a converse statement. Now children, you have to keep in mind that even if when the conditional statement is true, okay, if, or you can say that conditional statement is true, but it is not necessary that converse is always true. It may be also false. Okay, converse can also be false. Let us see one more example in which you will find that converse can be false. If a number is a prime number, then it is even or odd. Now you very well know that in prime numbers, only 2 is the number which is an even number. Okay, no other even number except 2 is a prime number. Okay, so what will be the converse? Converse will be, if a number is a even or odd, then it is a prime number. Okay, so conditional statement is true that if a number is a prime number, then it can be even and odd. Okay, now 2 is an even number, therefore it can be a prime number. But remember that no other even number except 2 is a prime number. Only 2 is a even number which is prime number, but any other even number is not a prime number. So you can find here that the converse of the above statement, the converse of this statement is false. Okay, the converse is false. Now children, we are going to move towards a new part. Okay, before that I want to tell you some information. We have studied many properties of angles, triangles and quadrilaterals through various activities till standard 8th. Okay, in this class or in this standard, we are going to look at the subject geometry with a different point of view, which was originated by the Greek mathematician whose name is Euclid, who lived in the 3rd century before Christian era. He gathered the knowledge of geometry prevailing at his time and streamlined it. He took for granted some self-evident geometry. He took for granted some self-evident geometry statements which were accepted by all and called them as postulates. He showed that on the basis of these postulates, some more properties can be proved logically. Properties proved logically are called theorems. Okay, the properties which he proved logically, they are called as theorems. Now in theorems, when we are going to prove that conditional statement is true, then it is antecedent is called the given part. Now what is antecedent in a theorem? What you write, given, that is antecedent. Whereas what are you going to prove? That is called as consequent. Okay, what is antecedent? Antecedent is given part in the theorem. Whereas consequent is what? In theorem, whatever you are going to prove, that is called as consequent. Now there are two types of proofs. One is direct proof and the other one is indirect proof. Now let us start with the direct proof. Okay, direct proof. Now children, the theorem. What is theorem? The opposite angles formed by two intersecting lines are of equal measures. Okay, now you can see these are two intersecting lines, and what you have to prove, that the angles formed, that is angle AOC and angle BOD, are equal. Okay, then you can also prove that angle AOD is equal to angle BOC. Now you are going to write down antecedent. I told you, in a theorem, whatever is given to you, that is called as antecedent. Okay, now we'll write down the antecedent of this theorem. Now what is given to you all? Line AB and line CD. Line AB and line CD. Okay, they intersect at point O. Intersect at point O, such that A dash O dash B and C dash O dash D. Now what you have to prove? You have to prove that angle AOC is equal to angle BOD and angle AOD is equal to angle BOC. Now you can see that this given part is your antecedent. Okay, this is your antecedent and this is your consequent. Okay, now let us move on towards the proof. Now here AB is a line. Now see this line, AB is a line. Therefore angle AOC plus angle BOC. Now you can see this diagram. Now this is line AB, angle AOC, and other angle is BOC. Now if you draw this diagram, it will be in this way. Okay, now these are equal to 180 degree. Now if you add AOC plus BOC is equal to 180 degree. Straight angle is of how much? 180 degrees, or you can also call them as linear pair angles. Okay, put it as equation 1, linear pair angle. Okay, now you can also see similarly you can also see angle BOC plus angle BOD. Angle BOD is also equal to 180 degree. Equation 2, these are also linear pair angles. Okay, now from equation 1 and 2 you get angle AOC plus angle BOC is equal to angle BOC plus angle BOD. Okay, now this BOC and BOC will get cancelled and you come to know that angle AOC is equal to angle BOD. Now similarly we can prove that angle AOD is equal to angle BOC. Okay, now this is your direct proof. Now let us move on towards the next type of proof, that is indirect proof. Now how are this indirect proof? Now suppose दो भाई हैं, okay, and you have to prove that these two are real brothers. So what you will assume? Okay, you'll write a conditional statement, means you are going to assume that these two are not real brothers. ये दोनों भाई नहीं है. You are going to assume it. And as you go on solving this step by step, and you come to the conclusion that these two are real brothers, that means whatever you have assumed is wrong. Okay. Now let us see. Theorem: a prime number greater than 2 is odd. What is the statement given to you all, or what is the theorem? That is, a prime number greater than 2 is odd. Now in indirect proof, what you do? You assume something. Okay, always remember, in indirect proof we assume something. Okay, now statement they have given: a prime number greater than 2 is odd. Okay, now let us write the conditional statement. If P is a prime number, greater than 2, then it is odd. Okay, then it is odd. Now antecedent of this, or given. What is given to you all? P is a prime number greater than 2. That is 1 and P are the only you can call factors or divisors of P. Factors or divisors of P. Okay. Now you have to prove that P is an odd number. Okay, you have to prove that P is an odd number. In proof, let us suppose that P is not an odd number. Okay, now what is given? P is a odd number. Okay, a prime number greater than 2 is odd. But what we are going to suppose or assume opposite to the given. Okay, what we are going to do? We have to suppose or assume in opposite way. What we have supposed over here, then P is not an odd number. Okay, therefore P is an even number. Okay, if it is not odd number, then it is naturally a even number. Therefore P is divisible by 2. Okay, this you can put as equation 1. But this is not possible because P is a prime number. Okay, but this is not possible as P is a prime number. Okay, P is a prime number. Then as it is a prime number, it has only 2 divisors. That is 1 and P itself. Okay, that is 1 and P itself. Therefore this you can put as statement 2. From 1 and 2, you can say that the statements are contradictory. Okay, the statements are contradictory, means they're opposite to each other. Okay, this is not possible. Okay, therefore P is a odd number. Now children, I told you. Now what they have told us, that the number, a prime number greater than 2 is a odd number. So we have considered that number as P. Okay, and in assumption, what we have considered, opposite of that. Now what is given? P. We have supposed the prime number greater than 2 is P. That is an odd number. It is given in the theorem. But what we have to assume? We have to assume that P is an even number or it is not an odd number. And at the end you got the result that P is an odd number. As I told you, ये दोनों भाई है. Okay? But in theoretical way or in the form of theorem, what you have assumed? ये दोनों भाई नहीं है. Then while solving this step, you came to know that दोनों के रिजल्ट उनकी एक ही औरत आकर साइन करती है. इसका मतलब ये दोनों सगे भाई है. अंडरस्टूड? Now let us move on towards the practice set 1.3. It is very easy. Write the following statements in if-then form. Okay. Now the first statement is the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Now in the if-then form you can write that if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite angles are congruent. Okay, statement is the opposite angles of a parallelogram are congruent. Then its if-then form is if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram, then its opposite angles are congruent. Second one is the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. Now, if a quadrilateral is a rectangle, then its diagonals are congruent. And last one, in an isosceles triangle, the segment joining the vertex and the midpoint of the base is perpendicular to the base. Okay, now its answer is if the triangle is an isosceles triangle, then the segment joining the vertex and the midpoint of the base are perpendicular. Okay, they are perpendicular. Now let us move on towards question number 2. Now in this you have to write the converse of the following statement. What you have to do? You have to write the converse of the statements given. Now what is there in the converse? The antecedent. Okay, if the antecedent and the consequent are interchanged in a statement, it is called the converse of a statement. Okay, now the first statement is the alternate angles formed by the two parallel lines and their transversal are congruent. Okay, they are congruent. Now its solution will be, or its answer will be, if the alternate angles made by two lines and its transversal are congruent, then the lines are parallel. It's very easy. Just you have to interchange the position of the antecedent and the consequent. Now next one, if a pair of the interior angles made by a transversal of two lines are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. Okay. Now if two parallel lines are intersected by a transversal, then the interior angles so formed are supplementary. Last one, the diagonals of a rectangle are congruent. Okay, if the diagonals of a quadrilateral are congruent, then the quadrilateral is a rectangle. Okay, now here we wind up with the practice set 1.3.